What's up? What's up? It's your boy Corey B. So I want to talk about money. That's right, money. Man, I love money. I love money. I like, who doesn't love money? Okay, now a lot of people are going to say they absolutely don't love money. And that loving money is like materialistic or shallow, superficial, whatever. Look, you have to know and understand money for what it is. That's the key. That's the key. And if you miss it, then yeah, absolutely. If you don't get it, if you don't understand money, then how can you appreciate it? If you don't really know what money is, okay, let's break it down, right? Money is simply a tool. That's what it is. It's a tool. It's a tool to help you get from point A to point B. Get from the things you want, the things you need, take care of your family. It's a tool. It is a tool. Its only value is how you utilize it. Okay, let's break it down because some people can't wrap their head around the fact that money is a tool. So let's compare it to a tool. Now, a simple hammer that you get at your regular hardware store, right? In the right hands, people build great things, incredible things. I've seen people do amazing things with nothing more than a hammer and a circular saw. It's amazing. Like old school. My grandpa built a picnic table for us. He built a toy box for my brother. We had this chest, this trunk that mom kept all of our keepsakes in over the years. The little things that you save from your toddlers as they're growing up. She kept it all in this trunk that her grandfather built with nothing more than a hammer and a saw. That's it. A hammer and a saw. The only other tool they used was a paintbrush to paint it. Now, of course, you can get more advanced tools and you can make more intricate and more advanced things, but it's incredible in the, in the right hands what a hammer can do. Just a hammer. I mean, that's money. In the wrong hands and utilized the wrong way, it's useless. I remember being a kid and I saw my stepdad and I remember seeing my grandpa and I saw so many people doing things, building things and doing that. It was kind of a cool thing in the neighborhood. Like it'd be like Saturday, we're going outside, we're gonna, time to be manly. We're gonna build some stuff. Break out the saw. And they would set up their sawhorses. They cut the lumber apart. They get measurements and they built stuff. Built a doghouse for my dog. Like I said, picnic table. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And the thing is I would see them do these things, right? And so I'd get this idea. I was like, okay, well, I saved up a little bit of my allowance. I went and got a hammer. I thought I was so cool too. I was like, ooh man, I am manly, right? Because I got me a hammer. I got me a hammer and I got me some little God, they were like the little pieces of wood from the craft store, right? Where you could build little things, little boxes and things like that. Man, oh my gosh, I built this little bitty box for my mom, and I remember I got these little hinges that had pin nails, so I didn't have to do any screws or anything. I had these pin nails, tiny hinges, and I was like, this is gonna be cool because I could do it all with a hammer, right? Oh my gosh, I built this thing. The lid would not even close. It wouldn't. It was always just up, and I couldn't figure out what I did wrong Because I was like, look, I put all the pieces together, I fit them together, put the hinge on. It didn't work. My mom loved it. My mom loved it, you know, because that's what moms do. They love when you make them stuff. But I was looking at all the stuff that I had seen my dad, friends, you know, neighborhood people, my grandpa. I saw them build these things, and I was like, mine don't look nothing like any of their stuff. At the end of the day, that hammer in their skilled, you know, seasoned, you know, 20, 30, 40 years of experience hands, man, they could build things. They could build things. And it seemed so effortlessly. I remember watching my grandpa build and then watching my stepdad build. My stepdad, I mean, he was handy. I mean, you know, granted, he was handy. And as a man, I don't like to give a whole lot of compliments to, but he was pretty handy. But he wasn't on my grandpa's level. My grandpa, I mean, he just got out there, started cutting wood, and hammering it together. All of a sudden, we had a picnic table. I was like, dang, look at that. Bam. My stepdad, he went out there, he'd measure, he'd mark stuff off, he'd cut it, and then sometimes it took him a couple of measurements to make sure it was going to fit right. But eventually, he built us a dope picnic table. My brother Jason had this little bitty picnic table. It was a little blue picnic table that it was in his room. It was like a miniature table my grandpa built. It was incredible. And my stepdad built us one in the front yard. But the thing is I'm looking at all this stuff, and in their hands, that hammer could do incredible things. In my hands, that hammer, it made a child's craft project. That's what it did. It made a gift for mom. It did not make something that, you know, it wasn't something to really be that proud about. But it was one of my first efforts. I remember being a little guy and doing this. Look, I mean, this is money. Money is a tool. In proper hands and leveraged, invested, utilized properly, there is truly no limit to what you can do. There really isn't. I mean, there's absolutely no limits. People think there's limits. There's not limits. It's like, oh, well, you know, here's one. I have a buddy who's a great personal trainer. He started his own business as a personal trainer, and then during the pandemic, he took things to the next level. I mean, he was doing video lessons and things like that. He was doing remote, you know, physical training. He would tell people how to work out. He would do house calls, and he's just a great guy, really smart guy. And he recently was talking about, because in our society, it's a thing that it's like the deck is stacked against you, right? If you want to be healthy, the deck's stacked against you, because how can you possibly afford to be healthy because of how, you know, the economy is, how much we're paid based on inflation, based on I'm not paid enough, I don't earn enough, I'm trying to do this, that, and the other. And I've been guilty of being that guy before. I have. I've looked at things and I'm like, man, it's like I want to try to be healthy, but it's cheaper to eat junk. I mean, it is. At least that's what I thought. But you know, he just recently posted this thing and it was really awesome. He was like, can you eat healthy on a budget? And he said, if you plan. Oh, okay. See, now that's the difference. If you're eating on the fly, then absolutely grabbing hot dogs and stuff is going to be cheap. But if you just take the time and the effort to plan out your meals, to plan what your budget is, to plan, like my wife always says the word menu. Like if we make a menu for our meals, then our budget can we can stay within our budget and keep our meals balanced and healthy and good for you. You can do that. Again, it's utilizing money properly. That's the key. If you don't utilize money properly, then that tool is useless. Am I talking right? Are you hearing me? I mean, what it comes down to is being able to utilize the money properly, be able to be effective and skilled at how you use it. Personal finance and business finance are two big different things, but both are critical. Both require a critical level of understanding money. You can't balance your budget for your business without really understanding what it is that you're using that money for. You've got to understand, you've got to be able to prioritize. You've got to understand that finance, you got to be able to understand what the overall goal is. Okay, so you're developing a new product, or you're trying to increase your inventory, or you've got the inventory, but you need to market it better. It's like you've got market it, have people who are going to buy it, be able to ship it if you're going to ship it. Like all of these things cost money, and you need to understand it. When it comes to personal finance, you've got to understand, well, what's necessities? What's necessities versus wants, desires? You know, there's a lot of people that throw shade at Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey's incredible. He's a very smart man. Not all of his techniques and approaches are mine. Not at all. I love a lot of his techniques and approaches, but not all of them are mine. But at the end of the day, I won't tell you that he's wrong, because he's not. He's a smart man. But you'll see people on TikTok, on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, you'll see people throwing shade at him all the time, saying he's detached from reality because he's got too much money to understand how it is to live on a budget. No. This is not a man who's detached from reality. This is a man who's had money. He fought to get where he was, then he lost it all and had to fight and rebuild again. He's a man who understands value and understands the importance of keeping things in perspective. When it comes to personal finance, make sure you got a roof above your head. Make sure you got these wonderful lights on. Make sure you got heat, if you're cold. Maybe you got air if you're in Texas. He understands that concept and that idea of focusing on the necessities first and then moving to the next phase. Money is a tool. It is a tool. If it's utilized properly, there is no limits to what you can do. If you're working minimum wage, there are things you can do, because I'm going to tell you right now, hopefully nobody with children or a family is working minimum wage. Minimum wage is meant for high schoolers. It is. Anybody who says they need $15 an hour if they're in high school, that's absurd. That's just absurd. My boys, when they're in high school, they don't need that kind of money. But whatever money they get, they need to manage it well. Whether it's $7 an hour, $15 an hour, or $30 an hour. It's a matter of managing it well. My boys have already invested in their first stock. They invested in their first stock as of last year. They're excited to build a business. My boys are, as of January, last month, they turned 8 and 9. My 9-year-old, man, my sweet, precious, brilliant little man, is eager to launch his own business already. He is. If you tune into our other channel, the Bayless Boys, you'll see just the fire inside them, the light. These guys are on a different level. If only I could have had that mentality when I was their age. But it's okay. Warren Buffett invested in his first stock at the age of 11. My boys did it at 7 and 8. My boys are going to be in a better position than I ever was. And not all because of my doing, but because of their doing. I'm going to continue. My pastor once told me, he said that as a father, we have to remember that we have our Father in heaven. And as an earthly father, that we don't own our children. People get that, they get wrapped up in their flesh and everything, and they're like, these are my kids. So whatever they do wrong, my fault, I failed. Whatever they do great, well, that's my fault, I did great. No, you are placed in a strategic position of influence. That's it. And if you look at it from that perspective, it takes some pressure off a little bit. You know, it's like God placed me, He chose me to be Corey and Colton's father, so I could be in a position of influence, to influence them to do great things, to influence them to follow God, to influence them to build a life for themselves, to influence them to crack their books and get an education and enhance their mind and their knowledge and do great and wonderful things. These boys are on a different level. They really are. Their concept of money, we're still working on. But they're getting it. And they already understand more than many adults I know. Wanting money isn't greedy. Wanting money isn't... It's not superficial or materialistic. We're a capitalist nation. We're built on this concept of being able to exchange for goods. This is what we do. We exchange monetary value for goods and services. This is what we do. And it is the American dream to be able to be free to live your life according to the way you want to live it, and have the ability and opportunity to build something amazing from ground up. That's it. It's incredible. It's amazing. This is what we have the opportunity to do. We have the opportunity to build something amazing. But in order for it to not just be luck, in order for it to actually be based on some kind of merit and skill, you've got to have an understanding of money. You've got to understand money. And you've got to understand that money is only worth the value that you give it. It's only valued based on how you utilize it. If you don't position it properly, then it's no good. It's just dollar bills. Nah, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's a tool to help you excel, to help you get to the next phase. If you utilize whatever little amounts of money you have, build up an emergency fund. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you and your family are protected and safe. Begin investing towards your future. Start putting money in the stock market. Start looking for something deeper, something more, something bigger than just working a 9-to-5. And that's not a knock on anybody who wants to work a 9-to-5. Anybody running a business needs people to work, needs employees, needs staff. I've worked with people. I've had people work for me. I've worked for people. There's nothing wrong with working a job. Nothing at all. But at some point, that's not going to be enough. Because at some point, your body's had enough. I mean, if all you can do, if how you are earning your money is exchanging time for money, if that's it, that's your way to provide for your family, that's your livelihood, is time for money, eventually there's not enough time. You got to have a little something more. Now, if you don't have a desire to build your own business, or anything like that, you don't have an entrepreneurial spirit, that's fine. No shade thrown. Go do that job you like. Maybe your dream was to be a lawyer. Maybe your dream was to be a doctor. Maybe your dream, man, Kimberly is the most incredible. And I'm not biased by being her husband, I assure you. She's the most incredible nurse ever. She's so amazing. She's literally changed people's lives in the way that she cared and loved, and the compassion and the attentive detail to their care that she gave. She's still in people's lives today that they were, family member was her patient years ago. My mom looked at Kimberly. She said Kimberly was a hero. During the pandemic, I reminded the boys every day that she was a hero. And see, so there's nothing wrong with working a job. You just got to do a little something on the side. Investing, IRAs, something. Stock market. You got to have some kind of future. Because eventually there's going to be that moment when you don't have any more time. You don't have any more time to trade for dollars. You don't have the energy. You don't have the stamina. You just need a break. You deserve a break. You've been working for 30 years. You deserve a break. Look, like I said, how you decide to earn your money is on you. But what you do with it, you got to make wise decisions. Money is an incredible tool, but only if it's utilized properly. You've got to make sure that your money is in a position to grow. Your money is in a position to keep you safe and secure. A key phrase is you need financial freedom. Y'all stay tuned, man. I'm going to talk about these things more and more. I really want to get into more content discussing the idea of just building up financial freedom and building up independent wealth. A lot of people just tend to believe that it's more difficult than it is. You just got to utilize money the right way. And you just got to give yourself time to make those adjustments in your life. Start planning, start building. Y'all stay tuned. It's your boy. Give me some love. Hit that like button. Ding that bell. Get your notifications. If you ain't subscribed to me yet, what are you waiting for? All right, it's your boy, Corey B. Y'all go get cocky. Y'all have a great day. Till next time. Later.